Okay.
First and last name, can you spell it, please, and your title?
Kathy, F as in Frank, AIRBANKS. I'm the spokeswoman for the No on Proposition 61 Coalition.
Can you explain to me why no?
Proposition 61 sounds great, but the question is whether it will actually work in the real world. And the 200 groups that are opposed to Proposition 61 worry that it will lead to increased drug costs in California, it will lead to decreased access to medicine, and it will harm veterans. And that's why 200 groups, doctors, patients, civil rights groups like the NAACP, HIV and AIDS groups, and LGBTQ advocates are opposed to Proposition 61, 200 in all. Sorry.
Large
Right. Right, Bernie Sanders. Right.
How are you thinking this
Well, I think the issue is, I reckon, people are concerned about the cost of medicines, and Proposition 61 sounds great. And if you listen to the yes side, they're very long on promises, trust us, it's going to work. But the independent experts who've looked at Proposition 61, who've actually evaluated it and looked at it closely, have come to a different conclusion and have raised a lot of red flags. For example, the independent nonpartisan legislative analyst has identified a way in which the state of California could pay higher drug costs if Prop 61 passes. CalPERS, which is covered by Proposition 61 and provides health care to state employees and their dependents, has worried that Prop 61 could increase its administrative costs. It worries that it could lead to a decreased access to certain drugs for CalPERS members, and CalPERS worried its plans wouldn't comply and it might get sued. The U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs also evaluated 61 and came to the conclusion that it could increase its drug costs by up to $3.8 billion a year, and that's why veterans groups are opposed. American Legion, Veterans of Foreign Wars, are opposed to Prop 61 because of the increased cost that could be passed on to veterans in the form of higher health care costs.
So you're saying that they're saying that it's drug or lower drug prices, but that's really not true. It's really it's going to maybe choose in some way, but it's taking on a different group like veterans.
There are unintended consequences associated with Proposition 61. That's the problem. And the unintended consequences hit taxpayers, hit patients, hit California consumers. That's the concern, and that's why there are 200 groups opposed to Proposition 61. Yeah, I mean, Proposition 61 only covers a very small portion of Californians, only 12% of Californians. The rest of the 88% wouldn't be covered. And the concern there is that the 88% of us who get health care from employers or on Medicare or teachers, K-12 teachers or local government employees who aren't covered could be negatively impacted and could face higher drug costs if Prop 61 passes.
Have you looked at any polls or anything that how it is?
Yeah, the most recent public poll that came out was the field poll. It showed a 47-47 tie. So, it's up to what happens tomorrow, really. And we know that the more voters research Prop 61, the more they learn about it, the less they like it.
And then your response on that saying you spent 100.
It's 109. California is a very expensive state. Furthermore, if Prop 61 passes, this could throw the initiative into turmoil because there's no implementation language in Prop 61. The legislative analyst has said that the courts could get involved. This could be litigated for years, and that creates great uncertainty in the California market. That's a big problem.
Well, as a registered nurse and I work in pediatrics and as a veteran, it is really important that we pass the yes on Prop 61 tomorrow on Election Day, because we need to send a message to the pharmaceutical companies that they cannot make billions of dollars in profits while my patients cannot afford to pay for their life-saving medications. I'm sorry, what was the question? I mean, support from everybody is really important. We need all Californians and actually the whole nation to stand up to these drug companies. So especially to have such a figure like Bernie Sanders come, it's really really nice to have that, but it's also, it takes everybody. It takes everybody working from the bottom up. It takes nurses, it takes veterans, it takes, you know, just regular citizens, because this affects all of us. It affects our families, it affects you, you know, it will affect you if it hasn't yet. And it's important that we need to take a stand against the pharmaceutical companies and the greed that they've been showing us. That's it. Yeah, I think that's it. My name is Kristen Delmarty. It's KristanDelmarty, and I'm a registered nurse and a veteran.
You know, democracy is about one person, one vote. In a democracy, people can have different points of view. Okay, there's always two sides, three sides to an issue. But in a democracy, the drug companies and the billionaire class should not be able to buy elections. And tomorrow, when you pass Proposition 61, you are not only going to lower drug prices in this country, you are also striking a blow for real campaign finance reform, for overturning Citizens United, and for making sure that the billionaires will not buy elections all over this country. Proposition 61 deals with ethics, and it raises the question of how much confidence we should have in the pharmaceutical industry when major drug company after major drug company have paid out billions of dollars in fines because of fraud, because of cheating the American people. Brothers and sisters, tomorrow in Proposition 61 is enormously important. My own view is that this country must move toward a healthcare system which guarantees healthcare to all people as a right. But if we're going to do that, we are going to have to take on enormously powerful forces who think that the function of healthcare is to make billions in profit for the insurance companies and the drug companies. Tomorrow, you are not just going to strike a blow to make sure that people of all incomes can get the prescription drugs they need. You are going to strike a blow that says that in America, health care is a right of all people, not just a privilege. So once again, I want to applaud all of you. I understand, you know, that a proposition is not such a sexy issue, you know. You got a lot of propositions, I know, in California. But I do want to tell you that what you are doing here has true national significance. This could be the shot heard round the world in taking on the big money interest in healthcare. So please do everything you can tomorrow to bring out your friends and your family. Let's win on Proposition 61. Thank you all very much.
Okay. I want to explain. We are going to march, okay? We're going to march from here to the Ronald Reagan State Office building.
But it's not only the fact that we pay the highest prices. A bad situation is getting worse right now today. People are walking into a pharmacy and they're finding that the medicine that they used for 20 years, the price has doubled, the price has tripled. We all know about EpiPen. Gone up off the wall. We know that people, millions of people with diabetes in this country desperately need insulin. Prices are soaring. You got hepatitis C, well, you can get a good drug, cost you $1,000 a pill. The American people are tired of the drug companies. They're tired of the fact that today in America, today, 1 out of 5 people who goes to a doctor and gets a prescription is unable to afford that prescription. Now, how crazy is that? You're sick, you go to the doctor, they write a prescription, you can't even afford to fill it. Here in California, in my state of Vermont, there are senior citizens who are cutting their pills in half because they cannot afford the medicine they need to stay alive. We are sick and tired of seeing people in this country get sicker. We're tired of seeing people die because they can't afford the outrageous prices that the drug companies are charging us. Meanwhile, while drug companies' prices are soaring, last year, the 5 major drug companies made $50 billion in profit. While people in California and all over this country are getting sicker than they should be, and some are dying, the top 10 executives in the pharmaceutical industry last year made $327 million in compensation. The fight that you are waging here in California is really extraordinary because you are taking on the entire establishment. You're taking on the moneyed interests, you're taking on the political establishment, but tomorrow the drug companies are going to learn a lesson, and that millions of Californians want change, they want lower drug prices. Now, the reason the drug prices are so high in this country is that there is no legislation, not in California, not in Washington, that prevents the drug companies from raising their prices to any level they want. They want to double prices, they can do that tomorrow. What they are scared to death of is that for the first time, a state is going to go on record and say, sorry, you cannot raise your prices any level you want. Proposition 61 is a moral issue. It is an issue which raises the question of whether people in our country should die or get sicker than they should be because they cannot afford a pill which in some cases costs pennies to manufacture. That is a moral issue. Our view is that if you need a prescription drug in the United States of America, regardless of your income, you should be able to get that medicine. Proposition 16 is a broad health care issue. The cost of health care is going up. And one of the reasons that millions of people cannot afford their health insurance or are paying high deductibles and high co-payments is because of the soaring price of prescription drugs. So we have got to tell the drug companies that we will not tolerate rising drug prices which force millions of people to have high deductibles and high co-payments. When the drug companies are spending $130 million to try to buy this election, it also tells you about a corrupt campaign finance system in the United States of America.
Are you ready to win tomorrow, Los Angeles? Are you sick of high drug prices? Well, you come here to see me. So all I want to say is that it's so incredible that a senator from Vermont will have appeared 5 times in California to help bring lower drug prices to California, but also to start a movement that's going to sweep the nation. So I'm so proud of this campaign. I especially want to salute the nurses. Let's hear it for the nurses. They've been a backbone of this campaign. So anyhow, I want to say I'm so honored to introduce a man for our times, the man of the hour, Senator Bernie Sanders.
It looks like the people of California are prepared to put an end to the greed of the pharmaceutical industry. Thank you, California. I want to thank all of you for being here this morning and for your extraordinary work, really extraordinary work on Proposition 61. And I want to thank the AARP. I want to thank the great California Nurses Association, National Nurses United, one of the great unions in this country. I want to thank the AIDS Healthcare Foundation and the many, many other groups who are supporting this enormously important initiative. During the last year and a half, I have had the opportunity to travel all over this country, and I've had the opportunity to see a whole lot of things. But let me tell you, I have never seen anything quite like what I'm seeing here in California, where the drug companies are spending over $130 million. They're spending over $130 million to defeat this initiative and to make certain that the people of California and the people of this country continue to pay outrageously high prices for prescription drugs. Now, why are they spending $130 million? And the answer is obvious. They understand that a victory here in California will not only lower prescription drug prices here, it will impact every state in the country. So on behalf of my state of Vermont and 48 other states, I thank the people of California for standing up and fighting back. Here is the simple truth, and the simple truth is that the American people are sick and tired of paying the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs. Right now, you can go to the UK, you can go to France, you can go to Scandinavia, you can buy the exact same medicine for a fraction of the price you pay in California or any other state. Let me tell you a brief story. Back in 1999, I took a busload of women from Vermont over the Canadian border. These were women who were struggling with breast cancer, working class women. They were able to buy the exact same medicine in Montreal as they were using in the United States for 1/10 of the price. And I will never forget, as long as I live, the tears running down their cheeks. These are women fighting for their lives, being able to buy the medicine they need for 1/10 of the price that the drug companies are selling it for in Canada, because in Canada, they have the guts to negotiate with the drug companies and to drive prices down.
Thank you so much for your time.
Say no. That's wrong. This is but not about nurses versus veterans. This is about right versus wrong. And that's what we're going to be able to do tomorrow when we pass Proposition 61. So I'm going to just take a moment and introduce my colleague here, Arturo Flores, a UCLA student. Got any Bruins out there? You guys have seen enough ads with veterans in them saying no. It's about time you heard from some veterans in this state across the country they never show you that are saying yes. See, we're not going to fall for the media deception and the deception that the other side is using by using people with hats like these to come out here and speak against what's in our best interest.
In the forefront of the fight to rein in the greed of Big Pharma. So we want to say thank you to Senator Sanders for his leadership and his guidance on this amazing campaign, which we're going to win tomorrow. Social Security. Senator Sanders, a steadfast champion of Social Security, has fought alongside us for years. He led the fight.
Organizer with Social Security Works, and a senior, and he's going to be talking about why seniors are supporting Prop 61. Thank you. Thank you, Kristen. You can always count on nurses to share.
As a registered nurse and as a veteran, I'm asking you to please vote yes on Prop 61. Thank you. One of my patients had a fundraiser just yesterday to help pay for the $1 million debt that her family has for the cost of her cancer treatment. This is not okay. We need to send a message to the pharmaceutical to have an EpiPen with them at all times as a life-saving device. The price of the EpiPen has gone up 803% since 2001, and I have a moral and a legal obligation to be an advocate for my patients. I take care of children who have type 1 diabetes, and the amount that they have to pay for insulin is ridiculous. To raise drug prices, they'd be the first ones campaigning for it. I'll tell you what they have to lose: profits. Pharmaceutical companies make billions of dollars in Prop 61. When I researched further, I discovered all the funding for the No on 61 campaign comes from the pharmaceutical companies. And like we just said, 100... Revolution, blow. Oh, when the revolution blow. Oh, I've been standing right up when the revolution blow. People come together 'cause the whole world needs to know.
That's right. And Bernie is also behind this movement. We got to stop the pipeline. Yeah, you're right. That's greed as well. The same deal. So we wrote a song for the movement. We'd like to sing it for you now. It's called Winds of Revolution.